guys? Welcome back to the Power Builder series. This was pretty much a program in which I was going from powerlifting to more hypertrophy and bodybuilding style of training. Today, we are actually kind of recapping. Believe it or not, we are actually finished with the program, and I kind of messed up the last weeks of my training, and I kind of want to go into that. So if you guys have watched this last video, or the last video, you guys noticed that I was kind of in a slump where I wasn't really lifting as well and performing to my best. And then I decided, I was like, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna put a deload week in here and just rest up. And I rested for 2 weeks. And, well, I kind of rested for 2 weeks, but the first week I really didn't do anything. And then the following week, I was lifting and I was kind of on fire. I was doing my just regular lifts and I was like, wow, I'm really strong. And the reason why I was really strong was because I was actually in my peak week of strength. And I didn't realize that, like, if I just kept going through the program, I would have ended up on a deload and then a peak week of strength. So I pretty much was doing sumo deadlifts, and I was able to get 500 for 10 on sumo. And as you guys know, I don't really train sumo, and I know it is also sumo, so a lot of you guys will also be like, well, it's sumo, so it's not really that impressive. But I don't know, to me, like, doing something, a new lift that you've never really done, and to be able to move that kind of weight was, you know, really encouraging to keep going forward. But, you know, at the same time, you know, I do want to pull it conventional, and who knows, maybe as I think about all this, like, maybe, you know, I don't have it in the cards to pull it conventionally, but maybe I can pull it sumo. So maybe I just keep chipping away at sumo. But for right now, technically I am finished my program, and I guess for me, it's really big about thinking about what are my next steps, what did I do correctly during this program, what did I do incorrectly, and I always like to do that because, you know, part of this channel is documenting my own fitness journey, but it's there to kind of like help you guys and help people as they climb to the top of their own mountains. So I think the things that I did a really good job of was, one, you know, making sure that I get all my accessories done, making sure that I write down the weights that I'm using. And on top of that, another thing that I did really well was working on my mobility. I consistently worked on my mobility and, you know, working on little nooks and crannies so that, like, you know, I can get into deeper positions. But where I think I did things poorly was the actual form, and in particular, like, when I mean form, I mean like form for my squat in particular, and then some things for my deadlift as well. So if you guys notice, when I squat, I kind of have a hip shift, and I don't think I did a good job of, like, necessarily adjusting my hip shift and figuring out how to improve that area of my game, because my hip shift it got really bad to the point where my actual hip right now is really banged up, and it's actually making me consider, like, where I want to go in my fitness journey, if I want to continue powerlifting and continue doing another power builder program, because, you know, my hip really is tweaked, and I think I didn't do a good job of addressing, you know, points in the area of the lift on why my hip is getting tweaked, and figuring out how I can improve it so that way, like, I can avoid injuries in the long run. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of, you know, my training. And I think for next steps, I don't know necessarily where I want to go next. You know, I'm starting to get a little bit older, to the point where, you know, lifting these weights really is taxing on my body. It takes a lot to be able to recover from session to session. And I wonder if, you know, maybe I take a couple steps back and, you know, run the program back, and where I'm really focusing in more on the form, but now the weight's a little bit less, and then maybe I can, you know, incorporate a little bit more hypertrophy into my training, and a little bit less focus on the squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press, and a little bit more focusing in on the actual form and technique, and then just, like, training along on the side, making sure that I'm getting a pump, and, you know, making sure that there is a good progression from, you know, powerlifting to bodybuilding. But yeah, this is one of the first times for sure in my fitness journey where I genuinely am kind of lost in figuring out what are the next steps for me. I also do want to talk about a couple other things that I did poorly though in the program. One of the things that I think I did a really poor job of was, like, self-auto-regulating a program. So not just following, like, a very cookie cutter approach to, you know, the program where it says if it says 80%, do 80%. Like, I think there's a time and place where sometimes, you know, you really will be able to perform at 90%, and sometimes you really will only be able to perform at 50%. And it's the ability to kind of read at that gray area, take a couple seats back and be like, hey, you know what? I need to make some adjustments so that I can perform to my best of my ability, and so that my body also isn't nicked up and hurt, because, you know, we only get one body. We only get one vessel, and if it's broken, you know, what is it worth, you know, being able to say I deadlifted 700 pounds, but I don't really have a body that's functioning anymore? It's not worth it. So these are all the things that I'm thinking about. Definitely have room and area to improve. So yeah, I mean, you guys will pretty much, I guess, see me in the next one. Also, as a really quick life update. Sorry. Also, guys, as a really quick life update, I think I might be moving, so maybe the next video will be in a different location, who knows. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, and I will see you at the top. And I hope all you guys are lifting as hard as you can. Peace out.